1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Royal Blue Podcast sound check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Friday show live. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Hello and welcome to the Royal Blue Podcast. It's the Friday show. We are live and I am your host, Ian Croll. Joining me in the Royal Blue studio today to talk all things Everton, we've got the return of Tony Scott. Tony, how are things? All good?
Yeah, good, thanks, Ian. Looking forward to the season. 3 weeks away this weekend.
Yeah, not far off now. Obviously a game tomorrow against Bournemouth. Today's pods usually do it around 11:30, but we are a little bit late in the afternoon. So I do apologise for the time change for anyone who is watching on the live stream, but it was the only time we could fit in today. But there is plenty on the agenda. Bit of a mixed bag of topics, to be honest. Still very quiet on the incomings front of view. But there's a number of newsy bits to speak about. We obviously got Everton in America. The Blues touchdown this week. We got the Bournemouth game tomorrow, Saturday, 9 p.m. our time. Jared Brandwaite is out with an injury. He didn't travel with the squad. So we'll talk about that. A couple of our games have been moved for TV as well. That was announced earlier in the week. So plenty to get through. So stick with us throughout today's show. A couple of additional plugs worth mentioning. Our EFC reporter, Chris Beasley, is in New York. I don't know if you've seen, so he did lose his luggage. He has made no secret.
I was trying not to laugh to him. It only happened to the bees. Yeah, just a vision of his suits.
I literally said that in the office. It could only happen to Chris. He's lost his luggage, but I think he's updated everyone on his Twitter feed that he has got it back.
He's got it back.
So he did post a video yesterday where, I'm going to be totally honest, he looked like he was walking around New York a homeless person. So Chris, I hope you're not listening to this show, but Chris has got his luggage back, so hopefully he can continue on with the tour now. Follow all of his coverage on the Liverpool Echo website, all of his videos on the Royal Blue YouTube channel. He's done a couple of podcasts already since he's been out there, and we're going to get them up on the audio platforms only. So he's done a chat with a group of American Everton fans, and he did it on the streets of New York. So in the bar,
first, isn't it?
In the bar that they were in, it was too loud, obviously, playing the arm music. So they decided to go on the streets of New York. And to be honest, I've listened to about 3-4 minutes of it, and the ambience is quite, decent.
Okay.
So what we're going to do is
taxis beeping in the background and all
exactly,
that.
typical New York ambience.
Love it.
So what we're going to do is, obviously, we've got today's show that's going to go out as an audio podcast as well, which, if you're listening to that on Apple and Spotify, give us some 5-star reviews. But later tonight, we're going to put Chris's podcast out with those group of American fans as well. And then he's also had an exclusive chat with Dan Meese, the architect for Everton's Hill Dickinson Stadium. So that was recorded in audio form only, so we are going to put that out as a podcast. But Chris did inform me that can be put out in the next couple of days. It isn't time sensitive, so I'll let you know when that's going to go out, so keep an eye out for it. As always, give us a thumbs up, drop us a like, and if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel. We are live, so get your comments in, get your questions in, and I'll read out as many as possible. So, obviously Everton in America, it's the first time in a while that we've, been abroad, never mind to America. I know previous regime under Sean Dyche liked to stay in the country and
stay in the northwest.
Exactly. Never like to travel too far. David Moyes obviously loves to go to America, but obviously it's good for business, good for the brand as well.
Yeah, it's no coincidence, is it? With our new owners being American, now is the first time that we're going back out there. So it can only be good news from off the field perspective, so to speak. Like, obviously, you're getting the brand Everton Football Club out there, seeking new investors. It's a new horizon at Everton Football Club, so it's only a good thing. I'm more concentrating on matters on it, and that's been my concern for the past 2 or 3 weeks now, Ian, to be honest. That we're going well, we've landed in the States with a paper thin squad. What I mean by that, and I do say paper thin, because we've lost 10 or 12 players in the summer and they haven't been replaced. We've seen, well, centre forward and reserve goalkeeper, and yet you can make opinions on the likes of Jasper Lindstrom, Jack Harrison, Abdullah Zakore, Dominic Calvert-Lewin, Ashley Young. Yeah, we all deem they're not good enough, but they all played a large chunk of Everton season last campaign and they haven't been replaced. And this weekend we are 3 weeks away from kicking a ball in the Premier League, and we're playing against 3 Premier League teams in the next 7 days who've all got bigger squads than us, who've all got better squads than us. And I don't think, if you were to probably ask David Moyes secretly, hands down, that he's happy with how things have gone in the last transfer, in the last 2 or 3 weeks. I get it, there's moving parts of transfers. We all can see that Everton are halfway down the food chain. We've seen what Liverpool and City and Chelsea are doing, and we've got to wait to see what they're doing. I get all that, but not all clubs in the Premier League have lost 10 or 12 players in the summer. Everton have. So the likes of Fulham and Bournemouth and Brighton and Brentford, they can all sit on their hands because they haven't lost that many players. Everton need to get out there and replace what they've currently lost. And it's I'm a little bit anxious at the moment in terms of what's happening at the football club, on the pitch and the transfer activity. A little bit concerning, yeah.
I mean, to be fair as well, though, you know, both of us on previous podcasts, when you've ever come on, you've said absolutely trust David Moyes with the process. Obviously, the recruitment team is fairly new as well. Okay, things have certainly quietened down. There's no doubt about that. But you know, we've got to give them a little bit of time, haven't we, to get things in process, get things moving. I get. Listen,
obviously, we need to be patient. And do you know what? In any ordinary season, if we just lost 2 or 3 players, you go, oh yeah, fine, no problem. We've got a reserve goalkeeper in, got a centre forward in, happy days. But I've just named all them players there. That yet we know they're not good enough. But they all played a large chunk of Everton's season last season. Jasper Lindstrom, Jack Harrison, Abdullah Zakore, Ashley Young, Dominic Calvert-Lewin. Imagine totting up the amount of games that 5 or 6 have just played last season. It's a hell of a lot. And now Everton relying on the same group of players for the next, 7 days, in 3 intense games, in the heat in the States, against Premier League opposition, against bigger squads. So where is the likes of Bournemouth, as we'll see on Saturday? They'll obviously operate in a different sphere than Everton at the moment. And same for Manchester United and West Ham. They'll make 5 or 6 changes per game. We can't do that with our paper thin squad. Now, our back 4 against Bournemouth this weekend picks itself.
The whole team probably picks itself.
And that's not a good thing. It can't be a good thing, can it, in a pre-season game when you look to explore and it's not just about signings as well. It's patterns of play. You want to see Everton. Listen, Moyes was dealt a bad hand last season, but what Sean Dyche left him with, and it is what it is. Try and get us over the line and accumulated a lot of points. But that was just the cards he was dealt with. So this season, we were open to see what new signings and seeing a different David Moyes, see a version 2 David Moyes. Let's see a little bit more expansive David Moyes. But I don't think we're going to see that in pre-season because of the current state of the squad at the moment. The back 4 picks itself, as you've just touched on. The centre midfield picks itself. The front 3 picks itself in Alcaraz, Ndiaye and McNeil. And the centre forward's going to be Beto. That's it. That's where we're lying. And now it's going to get stretched. And one thing, I hate to say this, and I mentioned it on previous podcasts, because we are relying on the same 12, 13 players for the next 10 days in the States, we are going to pick up injuries. We are going to pick them up.
Well, we already have.
We have picked up one before we've gone. And he was in the squad for the Blackburn game. We've already lost him. So Brantwaite was in that squad against Blackburn. He's not travelled. Metcalf, he come on. He's being sold to Bradford. So that's where we're at. Yeah, we've got to see Pickford back into the squad and Thierry Barry, which is good news. We'll probably open to see bits of him. But it's the still same group of players that are all... And I looked at it against Blackburn and I was there and I made a reference to the team looked stale. It really did against Blackburn. It looked stale. It looked as though like we've done so much in the previous 2 or 3 years, getting us over the line. We need bodies in to help us to try and get up there. And it looks as though there was a lot of players looking at the next player to do something for them against Blackburn. And I know you shouldn't read too much into a pre-season friendly, but it looks to me that we played a little championship club who they just look more sharper than us, they look fitter than us, they look hungrier than us. And I get it, it was only a pre-season game. but it was just set a little bit more alarm bells ringing to me that where I was looking and going, I'm a little bit unsure here because Blackburn had only played 2 games themselves.
No, I think you're being a little bit panicky, a little bit harsh. I know the anxiety's there. Me and Connor did me and Paul Wheelock did a podcast on Wednesday talking about, basically we compared other teams' transfer business, our rivals. If you
but you can't compare Ian though, with Everton.
You can't.
Everton have lost 12.
You can't because, there is a caveat. We've lost a lot of players. There's no doubt about that. I think if Kenny Tete had come in, I think a lot of people would be looking at this as a positive start to the transfer window. Now, okay, are there any players out there who have gone to other clubs where you think Everton should have been all over that? Now, like, I'm going to use this as an example. Sean Longstaff's gone to Leeds. Would you have gone in for him?
No.
Okay, so I wouldn't have gone in for him either, and Leeds have paid substantial money for him. I think it's in the region of 12 million plus. Are the club maybe not being a bit more picky now in a positive way? They don't want to just add players just for the sake of adding numbers to the squad, which would mean obviously there's a delay in bringing the exact players in that you want.
I get. Listen, I think Evertonians know more than most is that there's moving parts of transfers. We get that. So if Manchester United are buying a player, they brought Brian Mbeumo this week, then all of a sudden Brentford are after the centre forwards, and then that's where Everton and maybe it's us. And then obviously there's a merry-go-round in terms of signings. I get your points in terms of like, would you have had Sean Longstaff at Leeds, or would you have had Jordan Henderson at Brentford? I take that, but with all due respect, I'm not bothered what Fulham and Brentford and the others do. I'm more interested in why haven't we got a right back cover? I'm more interested in why haven't we got left back cover?
We are also still restricted by PSR, so aren't we?
Got a lot of money to spend. There's 12 players left the football club. There's wages saved every single week. The enormous amount of money Everton have saved in the past 3 weeks alone on wages from Decore, from Calvert-Lewin, from Ashley Young, from Jasper Lindstrom, from Jack Harrison, who was one of the biggest earners. It's enormous.
I'm not saying that. We have got a lot of money to spend, but in comparative terms, it's not really a lot of money. Reports have suggested that we've got in between 100 to 150 million. I'd be very surprised if it pushes the 150 million pound mark. I think you're probably looking at 100 million. When was the last time Everton had 100 million to spend? We've already spent nearly half of it.
Oh, well, have we?
Say nearly 43 million, 42 million on the 3 players we brought in.
So we bought in Alcaraz for 13, was it? We bought Barry in for 25, 30, whatever it was. And Travers as well. But we've still got no numbers. But whichever way you just we've got no numbers on the paper.
But basically what we've done is we've brought players in to replace the players that have left. So we needed a backup goalkeeper. We've had to spend 4 million. Yeah. Dominic Calvert-Lewin left on a free. I mentioned this the other week. We've left about 15, 20 million on the table with Calvert-Lewin. That was the biggest thing for me. It wasn't the fact that we lost Calvert-Lewin and his talent. Yeah. It was the fact that we had a player worth 20 million there and he's gone on a free now. So Barry's been brought in to replace him. Decore's gone. Okay, I don't know how much he would have been worth in comparative terms to other people, but he was still a very important player for us. He played a lot of the games, and whatever you thought of Decore, he was still impactful on the team. So effectively, he's gone. I mean, it's quite unprecedented that a player who plays a lot of games and is impactful on the team, he just goes on a free. That we're just happy to leave on a free. I know we weren't because we offered him a new deal, but we didn't offer him what he wanted. So he's gone now. So Alcaraz has been kind of brought in to replace Decore. I know they're not the same player in terms of how they're going to...
But we already had him last season.
No, but let's face it, Alcaraz was played on the right wing a couple of times as well, and maybe deeper. What I'm saying is the 3 players that have already come in have been brought in to replace the ones that have already gone. So it was relatively easy to an extent to replace those players because it's been done. Now we're looking at players that we want to add to the squad. So the right winger, I know you mentioned Harrison and Lindstrom, not good enough. So we're going to want another level of 2, 3 on top of what they are, and that's going to cost money, isn't it?
Of course, or loan. If we got them on loan, then this is where David Moyes was quite savvy in the loan market. So I'd be a little bit more positive and optimistic about it if we'd had 1 or 2 loans even in. So think about it this week. We're in the States. Ndiaye and McNeil are on either flank.
Yeah.
What are they playing the 3 games at full 90 minutes?
Well, listen, I'm not saying the squad is paper thin. I'm not suggesting that.
We haven't even got a player to come on for them.
No, I know.
I looked at the kids on that bench against Blackburn. You had a lad called Thomas, who's 18 years of age. Harry Tyler, who's a goalkeeper. Tyler Onyango, who's 22, nowhere near good enough. You had Jensen Menkarth, who's now been sold to Bradford. You had Isaac Heath, who's not at the level. George Finney, who's 18, and Justin Clark, who's another youngster. That's it.
No, I know, but
it's just full of kids you want. And I always want to bring kids into the first team. I really do, because I think it's a really good experience for them. And you see who's at the level. But the kids the youngsters Everton have got at the moment, they're nowhere near that level. There's a big gap. I think Addison Armstrong is the one that looks as though he'll be first team ready. The rest are miles away. So there's a big gap. So we can't even bring them players on. Normally you get one or two pushing. There's not one player that will replace Dwight McNeil. There's not one player that will replace Iliman Ndiaye. And then that's before you even touch on fullbacks. If Mikalenko gets injured, what happens?
Look, there's legitimate concerns about playing too many minutes, injuries, etc. But I would rather bring in the right players a week or 2, 3 weeks down the line than players in just for the sake of it now. There are clearly a number of players out there that they want. We've been linked with God knows how many players. Whether it's true that we want them all, I don't know. But there's a lot of moving and variable parts to a lot of the transfers that we're obviously looking into. And sometimes, if the selling team knows that the buying team is obviously really keen, then they'll know that they'll push that price up.
But do you think all is going to plan?
I think the first phase of the transfer window and signing players up to contracts has gone to plan.
As we are going into the States with 13, 14 first team players, do you think all is going to plan? That's my argument.
Well, I don't know, because I don't know the ins and outs of it. What I would say is, the first phase has definitely gone to plan. The second phase, the first phase is obviously replace the players that we've got rid of, sign up players on long-term deals, or Gay on an extended deal, Branthwaite on a long-term deal. Look, there's no question that we need players in. I'm not suggesting that we don't, but I want the right players in. I would rather bring in 4 or 5 players of high quality, decent quality, who I know are going to improve that team, rather than the 9, 10, 11 who aren't really going to improve.
So basically,
the team.
What you're saying there is that, and listen, I'm not arguing. It's the fact that what you're saying is correct, that we bring these players in later down the transfer window, then we're basically writing off the first 3 results of the season.
No, I don't think so. I don't think so.
Because we play 3 games, then there's an international, and then the September.
Do you think that's what they're thinking? Moyes and the team?
No, I'm not saying to write them up, but I'm saying there's potential to not be playing your best players. We're going to have injuries the way that squad is right now. There's one left back. There's Patterson, that's a fit right back. Coleman hasn't kicked the ball since God knows when. You got 2 centre backs who are fit in O'Brien and Keane. Tarkowski is over there, but obviously not fit. Branthwaite hasn't travelled. There's your back 4.
No, but it just all comes back to the whole that we are restricted by PSR still. We've lost a big year off that three-year sequence, haven't we?
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean anything. The club has still been horribly run over the past 3-4 years. Just because we've got 100 million to spend, Forest now have probably got 200 million to spend. Newcastle have clearly got money to spend. But
they all haven't lost 10, 12 players in the summer, but they've got to replace them.
They've lost big players, though.
Yeah, they've lost 1 or 2.
Impactful players.
But we've got impactful players. There's been 6 or 7 that played a large chunk of Everton season the last campaign.
Let's look at the players who did leave then. We're going off the agenda here, and I'm all for it. I'm all for the debate. Let's look at the players who did leave. Calvert-Lewin.
Yeah.
What did he really contribute?
Did he play a lot of games for Everton last season? I'd say 15 to 20.
I'd say that Everton had the better spells or better periods or better results when
the results is by the by. I'm talking about playing games for Everton last season.
No, but I'm saying,
and you
have to replace them.
I know, but you have to replace players who played.
We definitely will.
So later down the transfer window, when we played all our pre-season, when Everton have made, I was hoping to see patterns of play from Everton. We're not going to see it in the pre-season, are we?
We've literally just hired a whole new recruitment team as well as a manager, and we're expecting things to just go like that.
No, I understand. It's never going to be like that.
Even if we had a fantastic window where we brought in, I don't know, like 6-7 players, that's still probably not going to be good enough. It's still going to take.
Of course, I understand.
But I think on top of, what have we brought in? 3 already.
3.
I think we'll probably bring in. I said a couple of weeks ago that we should bring in at least 10, 11. Now that was me being maybe a little bit optimistic or thinking that's what we need. I don't think we will bring in that, really being realistic. I think if we bring in 7, 8, and even that's still not enough, by the way, but if it's 7, 8 of players who are of decent quality, who we know are going to improve that team, who we know we bring in a right winger, he's going to be better than Lindstrom, going to be better than what Jack Harrison going to offer. So one goal from Harrison in 2 seasons? Or one
season. We'll get the quality of them.
That's what I mean.
I totally understand the quality. We all know, every Evertonian will tell you, Toure needs a replacement, Calvert-Lewin did, Lindstrom did, Ashley Young did.
That's what I mean. Harrison. So all these players, they all need a replacement
exactly,
anyway.
Yeah, I get it. But they haven't been replaced so far. And we're playing 3 important games. And I say important, A, for fitness, and B, for seeing patterns of play, how Everton are going to play this season. That's my argument. So basically, if we sign these players later on the transfer window, because the transfer window shuts after the season's already kicked off, then these players who we sign on the final 2 weeks of the season, the transfer window, are not going to be nowhere near ready to play games of football for Everton until September.
What are those players doing now? They're not just standing still.
Well, a lot of them are.
Say, for instance, we get James McAtee in the final week of the transfer window. He's still having a pre-season with City. I get all the, mingling with the players and the squad and
but getting used to Jack Grealish, for example, he's not even training. He's training on his own.
Listen, I don't know whether we're in for Grealish or not, but I would take Grealish further down the line than rather bringing in like some no-mark right winger now.
I'd rather have McAtee myself.
Well, I'm just using Grealish as an example.
But I'm saying that there's a lot of players who are sitting here, like you haven't travelled with.
McAtee's not like a right winger as such, though.
He can play anywhere across, obviously, that attacking 3. He's a very good player. I'd love him. I'd absolutely love him at Everton. He's the profile we want at the moment. And again, probably talks of probably even happened with McAtee and his agent in terms of like, what's it like at City? You're travelling with them, you're going to be playing minutes. Do you want to, because he's been rumoured to have gone to a couple of Bundesliga sides are after him as well. But apparently the rumour is that he wants to stay in the Premier League. I was just hoping for a little bit more, and I'm presuming it'd be interesting to listen to the comments and read the comments out in terms of from an Evertonian perspective. I think we're all expecting to see a little bit more going into 3 games in the States, and we were hoping to see a little bit more from 14, 15 players.
I don't disagree with you. There's been probably a week now to 10 days, 7 to 10 days where it's gone extremely quiet, and it's coincided with the start of pre-season and fixtures, and it's only heightened. The anxiety is only heightened, isn't it, when you start playing football matches and you don't win, and you're playing against lower league opposition who are clearly, you're clearly miles better than them, or you should be in terms of quality, but you're drawing with them or you're losing with them. And I know we went and go and beat Port Vale and stuff like that. But look, so I'm not disagreeing with you. I was happy or content with the start that we had, and it's slowed down now. But I don't want to repeat myself from previous podcasts, but let's use McAtee as the example, like you've just said there. Reports the other week, City would accept anything between 25 to 30 million for him, and I think we would both agree. I think a lot of people on, the stream would agree. You would take that all day. Yeah. However, what's happening is there's clearly us, West Ham, certainly Nottingham Forest, who were also interested in him. I seen a report the other day saying that City now won 40 million for him. So again, variable parts, moving parts. Everton maybe have inquired about him. There was a rumour that he was in a Liverpool hotel the other week. I don't know how true that is. Maybe talks have taken place. James, do you want to come to Everton? Yeah, great. I'm going to find out what his first choice is. Everton then have gone, right, we can look for a deal between 25, 30 million. City have come back and go, oh yeah, that's fine, but then we want another 10 million of add-ons or something like that. I'm just speculating, I'm just freestyling. But I wouldn't be surprised if that's the case. City aren't stupid. They know that if a player is wanted by other clubs, they're going to get as much money out of them as possible. But they
also know as well, City, is that if, say for argument's sake here, if Gibbs White is sold to Tottenham from Forest Forest need to replace him, and they'll have, 60, 70 million to spend.
Yeah.
So they'll probably say, I'd rather sell him to Forest than Everton.
Yeah.
That's what they're probably thinking. So I get it. Listen, we're all not naive enough to think that's how transfers work. We're just obviously less down the food chain. But I think all deep down heart and hearts, we're thinking, we're going to America with 13, 14, first team players, and it's not good enough.
I think, look, it is a concern. We keep saying that is a concern. You can pick up injuries. We've already picked one up. I think there's a big thing being made about, well, we should have had these players in before America. It's almost become a bit of a cliche now, is that, well, you get your business done early, you make a good start to the season. If I'm going to be totally honest, there is a pattern behind that. I think that is the case. So I'm not suggesting that is not the case, but I don't think it's the be all and end all that we should have had at least another 5 players in before America. There are concerns, but again, I'd rather get the right players in 2 or 3 weeks' time rather than get no marks in now.
All right, I'll get you 2 questions here. Do you think the anxiety is heightened due to 2 things? Results in pre-season?
That always is the case, yeah, if you're losing.
So if Everton were to lose against Bournemouth, it's going to increase? Of course it is.
Yeah.
It's natural.
But
if Everton get beat against Bournemouth, it's going to heighten. We haven't won a pre-season game against Accrington or Blackburn.
If anything, the next 3 games that we play are tougher than what we've come up against previously.
And we've got less players to pick from.
Bournemouth are a bogey team.
Yeah, of course. And secondly, I think it tightens even more watching what other clubs in the Premier League are doing, and the fact that...
But in all fairness, no other team in our circle of teams that we should target, other than Brighton, are making massive moves. So they're not.
No, I mean, so basically the top 6, the top 5 are just spending money like it's monopoly money.
Yeah.
Liverpool, Chelsea, City, different stratosphere. But then you've got, obviously, the likes of Arsenal spent a little bit, and then Newcastle, and then it drops down. So David Moyes went on record 3 or 4 weeks ago when he was collecting his awards, saying, I want to be challenging for Europe next season. Mm-hmm. That team, that squad, doesn't get anywhere near Europe. Nowhere near it.
No.
Am I right? So, agree with that. In my argument is that we now, to get anywhere near close to running for the top 7, top 8, we need players to get us in there. And at the moment, as things currently stand here, with 3 weeks to go before the Premier League season starts, that squad's nowhere near good enough.
The squad's nowhere near good enough. However,
nowhere near good enough
I'd
to get anywhere near
the first 11, based on, and I've got evidence to suggest this, based on results from the back end of last season.
But half of them players have gone. You look at that Newcastle game, Ian, half the team's not there.
I'd only give you.
Did Decore play in that game?
Came in.
Did Addison play in that game?
Who?
Addison, Decore, did they play in that final game? Sure they did.
Look, the only one I'd give you really is Ashley Young. Decore was hit and miss as well. I know he scored against Forest. I know he scored that goal against Forest, but
he's hit and miss. Listen, I didn't.
Alcaraz played the
for
big
numbers
part
wise. For numbers wise, he got 3 goals last season. Decore, and he was asking for contracts like way beyond what I think he deserves. Yeah. So I get the point.
Even Calvert-Lewin though as well.
But that's what my argument is. We finished below mid-table. And all the mid-table teams, quite happy where they are, getting the odd player. We've lost players who've contributed to where we become. Yeah. So that my argument is that we've, I wouldn't say gone back. Well, we can't have gone backwards because we haven't replaced the players that we've let go. And we currently stayed in just below mid-table. So all the other teams, top 6 are well gone. So all the other teams, your Brentfords and your Brightons and your Bournemouths of the world and your Fulhams and your Crystal Palaces, they're all signing the 1 or 2, 3 signings, while we've just made the 3, but we've lost a lot. Where the other teams in and around mid-table, they didn't lose 10, 11 players in the summer.
No, but my argument to that is Decore didn't play against Newcastle for what it's worth anyway, or he didn't start. Harrison played on the right and Alcaraz played as the number 10. Like you say, I honestly think in terms of Decore, okay, I'll give you Decore and Ashley Young as the players who have left. Like Lindstrom and Harrison were only on loan anyway. They didn't really contribute, like, from an attacking point of view.
I guarantee Addison played about 30 odd games for them.
No, that's fine. He played, but we could just lash McNeil on it right now, and like he'd probably score.
And then what happens if McNeil gets injured and brings Bournemouth?
That's
we're done.
That's bad.
We're done. The team's done.
I think the argument is that we need more players.
100%.
Yeah, but I'm trying to say we need to get the right players in.
Yeah, but at what point do we get to where we need to get?
Well, that's the point, though. There will become a point where even behind the scenes, they're a bit like, well, we actually do need to start getting a couple of players in now. That we might be at that point. We might be at that point. I don't know.
I hope so.
Look, I'm a little bit surprised at your stance on it, because I think we've both agreed on pods previously where we've said we've got to trust David Moyes, we've got to trust the process. Okay, the new people who've come in on the recruitment team, is there evidence to suggest that, they can bring in...
I think this is on David Moyes.
No,
this will be on the recruitment team.
No, but let's face it, the recruitment team have only just come in, by the way, and it's not fully functional as well. Remember, it's got to... I honestly don't think you'll see the best of this recruitment team probably till about, 2, 3, 4 years.
I agree. I totally agree.
Exactly. So,
and they've come in where it's probably the worst time ever to have started a new recruitment team when 10, 11 the squad players have left. So they've needed to come in and hit the ground run straight away. And I'm sure let's not be naive here that before the season finished, we all knew Angus Kinnear was going to be obviously the main man. We all knew there was a new recruitment team. So they would have been sounding out players and speaking to a lot of players before the ball was kicked. They knew Ashley Young was leaving. They knew Doucouré was leaving. They knew Addison and Lindstrom were going back. They knew Calvert-Lewin was going. So I'm sure conversations are not just materialising in the summer going, no, we didn't know Calvert-Lewin was going. That would have been happening back end of May. So let's not be naive here that the conversations all of a sudden, well, we didn't know about this, that's been going on for months.
Well, no, of course they knew about it. I think as well, we offered the Doucouré contract, we offered Calvert-Lewin a contract, and they turned it down. The only other option within that terms of negotiation was offering them more money. And that's not, the club weren't going to do that, really.
I we fully accept that. Do you think it's caught them unawares?
Which?
The refusal of contracts from Calvert-Lewin and Doucouré?
I think Calvert-Lewin, I mean, if it has, then I'd be a bit disappointed, because I think Calvert-Lewin was going, no matter what. I think he just wanted a fresh start, and I think a lot of the fans could see that. I think there was a slight chance Doucouré could have stayed. Obviously, there was a chance Doucouré could have stayed because we offered him a new deal. He just wasn't going to accept that. I mean, it's interesting that both of them have got... There's no news on new clubs for them, so it'll be interesting to see.
But the ball's in their court, because the longer they wait, the more they can ask for from desperate clubs towards the end of the window. So if they sign for someone now, it's like, it's not for them where they'll know there'll be a lot of clubs towards the end of the transfer window desperate. And don't forget, they can sign for, well, as long as it's obviously permitted within the Premier League rules, the free transfers. So they can literally sit on their hands for as long as they want. And the longer the transfer window stays open, the more it's beneficial for them, because they can literally say to the club that obviously wants to purchase them, right? No, when I asked for 80 in May, well, I'm asking for 100 at the end of July.
I think it works. I think it can work both ways, can't it? In that sense, I do. I think there could be a point where the player becomes a little bit desperate, and they don't want to be sat out not playing, not training. Part of a pre-season with a team and a squad. Calvert-Lewin's, fitness. I mean, I know he's not a player, but an Everton player, but his fitness is questionable anyway. So he's gonna want to get a club as soon as possible. I think so. The only way Doucouré gets the money that he wants, or that he wants, that Everton's going to Saudi. Calvert-Lewin might get a bit of a bump in pay somewhere else. Going along those lines of what you said. I'm going to be totally honest. I think he would like to go to a team where he's not maybe the main man and he is the second striker, and he knows that his fitness is not. Yeah, it's obviously top priority, but if he misses a couple of games, it's not a big thing, and he probably would come on and be an ideal impact substitute for the likes of off the top of my head, like an Arsenal, Newcastle, a United type of thing. I mean, Newcastle could get desperate for a striker very soon. Couldn't he?
Yeah.
All right, we'll move on. Listen, I'm not here to deny that it's not a concern of the size of the squad. I think what the club are doing here now are learning lessons from the past and not going in and signing players just on big money, just for quantity over quality. We are going to sign players, so players are going to come in. It might not be like the number that we want, like the 10, 11 that will fill out the squad. Yeah,
I don't think none of us want that. I don't think none of us want to. I don't know. You don't want to be signing that many players toward the end of a transfer window. I don't think we want that. I think you're right in what you're saying. I'd rather wait and get the right ones. I fully accept that. But there'll become a cut-off point where if you're not getting your number one target and you're not getting it, then you need to look elsewhere. So if you know that listen, there's a good chance of Gibbs White being sold to Tottenham. Then Forest need to replace him. They're going to come in for McAtee, move on to... If Everton can't get him, right, move on to somewhere. If you're getting wind of that, you're speaking to agents, you need to go, right, we need to... Who's next after McAtee? You need to start looking at that. And you presume you can hear, obviously, there's all kinds of players' names get mentioned, but they will become a cut-off point soon. As I said, it's 3 weeks before the season kicks off.
I think just to emphasise on your point, we'll move on now because... We've had a comment here saying, lads, we're going in circles, which we are a little bit. McAtee, until he's signed for someone else, it means he's still available, doesn't it?
I get it.
So City clearly are happy for him to leave. They just want the right price. Probably a lot of terms going to be in the deal where they might get like a buyback clause or first refusal or whatever. But like I say, until he's gone to a rival team, that means he's still available. So Everton might be like waiting for as long as possible for James McAtee and thinking... Get him at the right place, get him at a good price. I'll be disappointed if I'm going to be totally honest, and again, speculation. Say if he goes to Forest over Everton. Yeah. It's like, why Everton not matched what Forest are offering? So next time you come in and that's happened, if it does happen, we can both agree on that.
I spoke to a City coach, I'm not going to name names, but he said, McAtee, he will be better than Foden.
Yeah,
that's his words. He said, "Trust me, he'll be better than Foden."
It makes you. It doesn't make you under, but it does. Like, because City have got an embarrassment of riches, but it makes you just look in amazement to see why City willing to let him go. If he's that good, he's obviously just not going to get the game time.
Because they've blown Omar Marmouche. They've obviously got all kinds of players ahead of him. He's not going to kick a ball, and plus they need to suit their PSR needs. So 35 million off their books coming straight from the academy is a breath of fresh air to City, the way they've been spending over the past 5 years. So it's great for them that they can provide academy players. Look at Cole Palmer, for example. I'm sure Arsenal probably gutted what they're seeing Cole Palmer do for Chelsea. But
there's
at the right time,
there's
a lot. Listen, I think the likes of Chelsea and Forest, there's a loads of players that have left Manchester City's academy over the past 5 or 10 years, and they've gone on to become really, really good players in the Premier League.
That's one mistake that Guardiola's made, in all honesty. I know they've, on the back of before this season, won 4 leagues in a row, is it? But in a way, he's surrendered a rebuild for the amount of players that have left, that have gone on to be, stars at other clubs. That's, those collective players who you've kind of just mentioned there, they could have easily fitted into the City side and rebuilt a new City side.
I totally agree, but at the same token, they've been successful.
I know.
If they haven't, I think exactly, they've been successful. They've won the treble, they won the league by 100 points, they've won 3 out of the last 4 Premier League. It's like, hang on, you can't argue with that.
I know,
it's like what they've done. They've sold the likes of Cole Palmer, and there's going to be Sam McAtee, and they've sold a lot of players, and what they've brought in is like superstars who are currently at the football club now. So I'd love, that's the sign. And if you were to ask me, Hand and Art, the signing I'd want this summer, and lots will say Jack Grealish and McAtee for me. He's the one I'd really, really love at Everton.
Oh, that doesn't bode well, considering Liam Delap was the one signing and he went to Chelsea.
Exactly, I know, but now
he's not even going to get a game.
I know. Gutted. And do you know what? I watched him the other day when he played in the World Championship in the final, and I was looking at him, I was watching him, and he'd have been absolutely ideal for us. Oh, brilliant.
I think McAtee will be ideal. I completely agree with you. I watched him... was it one of the England under-21s? I think he was playing alongside Harvey Elliott in the midfield, and the pair of them tore it up, to be honest, and he was fantastic. And I think he could do that for Everton. Promising that he wants to stay in the Premier League by all accounts. He's obviously looked at other options. I think he went to Frankfurt to check things out. Yeah. Clearly an Englishman who wants to, build his name in the Premier League. Hopefully.
Wouldn't have to move house as well, be ideal, wouldn't it? Love to be his agent now.
Yeah, there's always positives, isn't it? All right, let's move on then. Bournemouth, obviously, tomorrow, so we don't have to go through the team because the team pretty much picks itself. But in all fairness, we're talking about making sure that we don't lose this game, we don't lose against West Ham and United. But Bournemouth are a bogey team. It's not going to be an easy game, no.
No, it's not. Listen,
I know it doesn't matter.
No, it doesn't. And listen, it's about patterns of play. That's what I want to see from Everton, and I want to see obviously no injuries, fitness. That's the biggest issue here, because it looks like Everton were a bit leggy against Accrington, against Blackburn. I want to see really good fitness from the team, and I want to see patterns of play. And like just a little bit of freshness as well. Although we're heavily reliant at the moment on just a guy in James Garner who have been disappointed in. I'd like to see a little bit of freshness added in the middle in terms of arguably the only position where we've got options at the moment is in Iribunum and Harrison Armstrong. So maybe freshen things up in the midfield because we can't change Ilman we can't change Dwight McNeil. We can't change the defence. It is what it is. Right. So the only options we've got to change the team is in centre midfield. So maybe in Iribunum and Armstrong can start and Guy and Garner can sit this one out. And up front, Beto or Chimiti and Barry, and that's it in a nutshell, really, isn't it?
I think in terms of if you're going to freshen it up, which I don't think he'll do, I think he'll probably just stick with, pretty much what he's done over the past 2 or 3 games. If we're going to freshen it up and play Armstrong as the number 10, I wouldn't mind just to see what Alcaraz does as a lower, deeper lying midfielder. Just to, like say, just to freshen it up.
Yeah.
He's obviously going to be the number 10. That's pretty much where he's going to play. But, if Alcaraz plays, it probably means that Armstrong's not going to play. Does Iribunum play as the number 10 as well, or does he play as a deeper lying midfielder? I don't know. But there's limited options, but there is a couple of options.
Yeah, there is. And I like Armstrong in a centre midfield as an 8. I think he can get on the ball. I think he can get up and down the pitch. He's a fit lad. He's physical. And I think if you have him in like a 6, he can play in a 6, 8 or a 10. I think if you play him in a 10, he's sort of wasted because he can get hold of the ball. I like him as an 8 in the centre midfield. What I've seen him last season at Derby, what I've seen him in pre-season last season for Everton, and the glimpses I've seen him this season as well. So in this pre-season, I like him. And obviously been very critical about Everton's academy over the past 3 or 4 years in terms of how they've just... Well, they've neglected it, to be honest, haven't we, with all the money we spent on Farhad Moshiri. But I think if there's one thing to come from it in the past 2 or 3 years, obviously the Anthony Gordon signing spoke for itself. We haven't seen nothing else since from that academy. Alison Armstrong could be that player, and it'd be great to see one of the local lads playing for Everton. He speaks well, got a really good attitude about him, by all accounts, got good family around and good friends, and that's a big part of how you become a success in the Premier League. We've seen so many players come from Everton's academy, not just Everton's academy, just fall by the wayside because of the lifestyles and whatnot. So fingers crossed Alison Armstrong gets games under his belt, and I think he will. I think David Moyes likes the look of him, to be honest, and reading between the lines from what I'm hearing, he likes him as well. So he's got the good attitude. He's a ball player, gets his foot in, physical, can get up and down the pitch, always demanding the ball, always wanting the ball as well. I can play a killer pass. So, I'm excited about Alison Armstrong.
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, there was an incident or a chance that he had in the game against Accrington. I think it was Accrington. And he put a curling shot in, and the keeper made a fantastic save. And I just thought, you've got that in your locker. Yeah. So why would you not want to keep him around? Yeah. Just going to depend on how many midfielders or central midfielders that we bring in, depending on whether he goes on loan. Because he is going to need game time. He needs to develop. Oh, yeah. He's clearly developed a lot within that short period of time that he went to Derby. The last thing that you want is for him to be just sitting on Everton's bench, not playing. Okay, he could come on as a bit of an impact player. Do you want to give him that pressure?
I'd play him as a Garner. I really would. I really, it's a big really shout,
like. Garner's got a lot to prove. I think we've said that a lot of times over the past
How many games did James Garner play last season? He played a hell of a lot since Mangala got injured. He was in and he never...
I think
never
20 plus. Yeah. 20 plus.
And did you come away from a game thinking he was man of the match?
No, however, the goal that he scored against Port Vale, the free kick, again, talking about what players have got in the locker. I mean, okay, it was against Port Vale.
You can't be in the team from what you score a free kick.
No, we're saying he's got that in his locker. Though. He's got things in his locker.
But we don't see that when there's 40,000
we haven't seen it.
And I was a big advocate for putting James Garner in centre midfield because we've seen him pushed out wide and was going, hang on, he's more of a ball player. He's been put into centre midfield and plays a large part of Everton's season playing in there. We didn't see no goals. Didn't see hardly any assists. We didn't see any creativity. So what did we see from him? So that's why I'm thinking at the moment.
Didn't see that from the majority of the team. No, to be honest,
we didn't. But at least we've seen it. We've seen Ndiaye get on the front foot. You've seen the other wingers get up. You've seen just a guy get around the pitch and get out. From him, if it just a guy's the number 6 doing the busy bits, he should be the player getting on the ball. And I get it. Listen, he's probably looking up at times and seeing Beto being man marked and thinking, well, what do you want me to do? Well, take it upon yourself to go forward. Because I'm sure that's what Alison Armstrong will do. When he gets on the pitch, if there's no one in front of him, you gallop forward.
Listen, I've been James Garner's, not biggest critic, I think that's the wrong way to say, but biggest question mark about him. I think he needs to do more. But like I say, I think he's got it. I think it's a little bit harsh to compare him to like the wingers, certainly in Dye, because it's just different positions, isn't it? And I was the top goal scorer on 9 goals, but in all fairness, he didn't record 1 assist for Everton.
No, yeah.
So, you know, he scored
goals.
He's
going to create it.
He's always making something happen. That's not my point. Just interested to see what Garner's instructions are really when he's on the pitch. But I think if we don't see an improvement in Garner when we sign new players who hopefully are going to be able to run off him, you know, with some of his through balls or some of his long passing, I guess. I don't know. But we'll see. I mean, 1 year left on his contract. Again, you don't want to let a player like James Garner go for a free because you're leaving 15, 20 million on the table. Again, that's just a nightmare. So he, regardless of what you think of him, he needs to sign a new deal,
true.
Doesn't he?
Yeah. See what's happened this summer, haven't we, really?
Obviously, up front, so Schmidt and Beto have kind of been in and out in the 3 pre-season games that we played. Tieno Barry, maybe see him a little bit tomorrow.
Yeah, seeing the 2 pre-season games, I went to Blackburn, seeing Beto and Schmidt close up. I've learned nothing new from the 2, and again, not reading too much into pre-season, but I'm judging from what I've seen last season. It's like for like, it'd be great to see a couple of good minutes from Tieno Barry, wouldn't it? Maybe even an half, if I'm being greedy. We know what Beto's about. Schmidt, been a little bit disappointed, to be honest. I'm not going to lie, but a reserved judgment if he's playing a couple of games. But if you're playing behind Beto, if Beto's playing at Edia, then when you're getting your chance against Accrington Stanley, against Blackburn, then I'd be wanting to see a little bit more, and he didn't do. I think he missed a really good chance against Accrington.
Yeah,
and,
he just hit it straight to the keeper.
Yeah, and against Blackburn when he came on, he was here there. No,
it's early days, isn't it? With Schmidt, he's certainly got potential. The one concern that I'd have with him, I don't know whether you agree, and anyone in the comments, please shoot me down if you think I'm being totally harsh. Sometimes I think because he seems to play the game quite relaxed, his body language to me is not right. I don't know what you think. I just think there doesn't seem to be a lot of urgency in his play.
He's had a lot of injuries, hasn't he, since he's come to the club? So when you're maybe the managers that he's.
This is even before like the pre-season. No, any little cameos that he's ever had. I don't know whether it's just the way he is. He's quite tall and like I don't know. He just seems quite subdued a little bit. I don't know.
Well, if you're reading between the lines there, that's not a David Moyes type of player, then, is it? If you're quite relaxed on the ball, Moyes wants to see energy. He wants to see players on the front foot, giving it their all. Now, what you're suggesting is he looks a little bit laid back and a bit.
I won't even go.
Things to happen,
yeah, I'm not saying he's lazy, but I think maybe that's it. A little bit laid back, and you're waiting for the ball just to come to you.
And again, listen, he may need a loan. I wouldn't be surprised if he goes out on loan this season.
But then that means we'd have to bring in a.
But don't forget, last season we had Chimiti, we had Beto, we had Calvert-Lewin, and we had Brozier. We have 4 centre forwards. Yeah, in my opinion, the 4 of them aren't good enough. But we're still going to need 4 centre forwards if we're letting Chimiti. If Chimiti goes, then you're going to need 2. So where we are at the moment, we've got Barry in who hasn't kicked the ball for us. Got Beto in, we all know about, and Chimiti's had the kick the ball and he's played in games and fits and starts. But yeah, I think that area we'll see later on down the line in the transfer window. But again, if the right player comes up, again, it's like everyone says, and obviously I'm probably contradicting myself here in terms of like what I'm saying with the agency of signings, is that it all depends on what another club does before we react. As I've just made a comparison there with the likes of Gibbs White. If Gibbs White goes, then Forest will come in for McAtee, and that rules us out because they'll have more money to spend. So it's what other clubs will do. Everton, hate to say it, but in terms of we're way halfway down the food chain. And that's
this is the problem, though, isn't it?
This is it, where we're at. You've got the top 4 are just... What they've spent this summer is like... It's incredible. It's like... And Liverpool won the league by 10 points. And they've just blew, 300, 400 million? And where does that leave us? And that's before you talk Chelsea, talk City. And even United, who finished behind us, they've just blew 150 off the... Cunha and Bueno.
That's why if reports will be... believed to be true. 100 million's not even a lot nowadays.
It's nothing. That's what I mean. That's what I'm saying. It's like all of a sudden you're going. I think a lot of Evertonians are looking at the transfer market and going, "Wow, I didn't expect this." And all of a sudden, with the anxiety and the urgency of us needing more players, has put more pressure on the recruitment team.
I'm surprised that we've got 100 million. I'm surprised that we went out and spent 27 million on Tierno Barry, if I'm going to be totally honest.
We've lost a lot of players, haven't we?
No, but in terms of PSR, and I know it's like reset.
Well, we've got cash flow now. We've actually got cash to spend, where the last 2 years we've been buying players on the never. And I get a lot of contracts are like that in the Premier League, by the way, but Everton's were like a lot more stricter towards the 2 or 3 years ago. But now at least he can say to a Manchester City, well, we'll buy McAtee off you. But where we didn't have money to spend, last 2 or 3 years ago, we would have said to City, right, we'll give you 10 million and we'll give you 30 million over the next 4 years. What Everton can say to City now, right, we'll give you 25 million this up front and then we'll give you 10 or 15 million add-ons, where we couldn't have done that 2 years ago. And I think that's where we're in a better position now to buy players.
But we've also got to remember, too, as well, we've got no one that we're willing to sell, to let go at a high price as well. Whereas, like, Forest have got rid of Alanga.
Yeah.
Gibbs White might be going. Their whole team could be decimated. Their attacking line, which is the only reason, really, that they
and I don't think Chris Woodle scores as many goals as he did last season.
The West Ham fella, Kudos
gone.
That's what I mean. So the only other alternative for us in terms of making a profit on players was to sell Jared Brandtwaite, and we, they'd be lynching.
But the likes
if we
likes
did
of
that.
West Ham have still got the likes of Paquette, and they've got Bow, and they've still got really, really good quality players.
No, but I'd say we have as well. We've got Nzai, we've got Alcaraz, But they're not in the comparison of what they've got. Do you know what I mean? Man United have got Fernandes, Mateus Cunha. We haven't got them. We haven't got them players, and they finished behind us, and they've just went bang, 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 and that's the market we're in. Like it or lump it, that is the market we're in. That's why I still wouldn't compare us to United, because I just don't think it's fair on Moyes and the recruitment teams.
Oh, of course, I get that, but at the same token, they finished below us. A lot of them teams finish below us. I've just touched on them. They're just going to go bum, 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 and buy players. And I'm not putting any kind of pressure on the recruitment team. Please, want to emphasise that. But what I didn't foresee Everton going to the States with 13, 14 first team squad players. That's what I didn't foresee. I'd wanted to see a little bit more at the moment. And again, there's moving parts of transfers. We're just hoping to see a little bit more.
I'm going to go back to who would we have signed who's already gone though? Is there anyone out there? I don't want to put you on the spot, but is there anyone where you think we've missed out on him?
No, there's not at the moment, but you don't know unless you try and ask that club for that transfer.
I think there is a couple. I do think there is a
couple.
couple.
Walker Pieces, for example. He's going to West Ham.
Maybe. Obviously, Kenny Tete, we were on the verge. That didn't happen. I think
we need a left back.
The guy who went to Sunderland's, Diarra, Habib Diarra. But I don't know much about him, if I'm going to be totally honest. And again, there's concerns over the fact that he's African. He's a good player, so he's going to go to the African Cup of Nations. Do you want 3 of your best players going to the African Cup of Nations? I mean, the club might not have thought he was worth the money that Sunderland have paid for.
Oh, well, I get that. Listen, there'll be a lot of players out there that Everton go, no, not for us, not for us, not for us. And I get that, fully accept that.
They might have been for us, but at the right price, though.
But the players, you've just said that is the players going for transfers. But there's players who are at clubs that you don't know until you ask them and go, right, we're interested in that player. Do you want to name your price? So you don't know, do you, until you ask that club, for example?
Well, the perfect example, and we'll come on to him now then, is Douglas Luiz, who, the club have said they're not particularly interested in him. But I'm going to be totally honest. If he was available at the right price, even if it was a loan deal, or
I'll be all over him.
That's what I mean.
Yeah, all over him.
So the club's like external stance might be, well, we're not really interested in him because they might think, well, there's no way we're getting him. However, obviously, again, a lot of moving parts to it. This week he's turned up, or he didn't turn in for training. He clearly, something's going on with him because he's had a poor season at Juventus.
Yeah.
He was fantastic for Villa by all accounts, very good midfielder. That's why he got the move to Juventus. Here's me saying the other week, red flag, well, he's had a poor season at Juve, but clearly something is wrong with him at Juve. He doesn't want to be there. It's probably affecting his form. It's affecting his game. He was injured a bit
last season as well.
That's what I mean. But if you're not turning up for training as well, he clearly wants a move. There's something not right with that.
Do you want to sign a player who's not turning up for training?
No, there's that argument for it. But again, there must be a reason why he wants to actively leave. And he might want to come back to the Premier League. It might not necessarily just be with Everton. He might just want to come back. So I think if Luiz was available, I think Everton would be all over
I agree.
That.
Loan.
Again, it just comes to the right price though. And if I'm going to be totally honest, a loan would probably be the preferred option. However, if it's the likes of West Ham and Forest who were believed to also be interested in him, I think they'll...
Just going to be West Ham, Forest and Everton.
Well, this is the thing, isn't it? I think they'd been off the loan option, those two, and they just go straight for the transfer.
Possibly, yeah.
I think that's what they... Forest will have the money to do so.
Yeah, they'll have money from Alanga and Gibbs White, won't they? Plus what they were going to spend anyway. Being in Europe as well, they're going to have to beefing the squads up.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
All right, we're... Right, 3 o'clock. Just very quickly, talk, because I know you got to shoot off. Branthwaite's injured again. That makes it sound really bad, but he's obviously not travelled. I know it's a minor injury. Any concern with regards to Jared Branthwaite's injury record? The only reason I bring it up, because there always just seems to get some niggling injuries, and it's fine if he hasn't travelled, if it's the right, precaution to not let him travel, travelling on a plane all this time. It's probably not going to help him, so he stayed behind. However, just did a little bit of research. So according to Transfermarkt, since the start of his career, including his loan spell at PSG, Branthwaite has sustained a total of 8 injuries. It was 9, but one of them was an illness recorded down on their website, and he's missed a total of 46 games. His total number of days out since 2020 is 267 days. I'm not looking to flag this as like a negative thing or anything like that, but any concern with Branthwaite and an injury side of things?
No, I spoke to, do you know what, I got the train yesterday, and the guy was obviously buying me ticket off, and I was speaking to him about Everton, he's an Evertonian, and I went, Branthwaite hasn't travelled to the US, and he went, yeah, good thing, and I went, and I thought he had near me, I went, Branthwaite hasn't gone with the first team, and he went, yeah, it's a good thing now, and he went, you're staying at home, keep him fit for the season. He said, rather than going over there with a little bit of a niggling injury, what's the point? And I took a step back, and it's probably right there when you think about it.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not about going over to the States, going on a plane for best part of 10, 12 hours, and then obviously not going to be part of the squad. So what's the point? You may as well stay at Finch Farm, get yourself fit for the Roma game, happy days. So I see the point now. But at the time, when you're going, he's missing, you're going to go, where's the other injury again? But it's a minor knock, apparently. He's got to get himself fit at Finch Farm. And I'm more bothered, as I've referenced to plenty of times here today on this podcast, I'm more interested in Leeds 3 weeks from this weekend. Yeah. And if Branthwaite's fit for that game, that's all needs must. But we need them 11, 12 players who are going to be playing large chunks of this game in the States. We need them to be fit, and we need more signings in to help them out, to be ready for the game against Leeds on that Monday night. And that's all it's about. It's all about gearing minutes up for the team in the States, patterns of play, and new signings for in 3 weeks' time.
As long as he's not gone to the States because he's put a transfer request in, like Alexander Isak, then we're all right, aren't we?
Naughty boy.
I know we may not have put one in just yet, but...
it's probably coming. Probably.
Okay, very quickly, Everton games change for TV. Liverpool 20th of September, 12:30, and West Ham 27th of September, 8 p.m, which will be the first game under the lights.
West Ham, yeah, under the lights.
I'm absolutely delighted that game's been changed to Monday because I'm away in Benidorm that weekend and I get back very late Sunday.
I will guarantee Mr. Steve Rotherham is not delighted that that's...
Do you know what? That was one of the first things I thought about. Do you think they've done that on purpose?
Just to rub salt into the wounds?
No, just to think one of the first games out there, Monday night, we'll see.
Let Sky dictate, don't they? They all dictate who's on, when. If Sky's saying you're playing at 5 o'clock in the morning in another planet, you're playing at 5 o'clock in the morning on another planet. That's how the TV companies work. But yeah, it's going to be fascinating to see how that one evolves for supporters' safety and transport for that game. Going to be interesting.
Yeah. It's not just stuff on the pitch for that one, is it?
Oh yeah, it's going to be interesting. I'm going to see it as well for the Roma game.
Yeah, we'll have had 3. We'll have, including the Roma game, 3 home games as such by them. Obviously, Roma, Brighton, Villa.
Don't forget Brighton's on a Sunday. Brighton is the Sunday one, and we all know
Sunday service
every 30 minutes. It's going to be interesting.
Okay, any final thoughts then, so before we shoot off?
No, we just want to obviously mention that lots of Evertonians who I speak to in the streets and on social media, they're optimistic about the season, and they don't want any, I don't know, they don't want any negativity, because the way we finished and left Goodison, it was great. We finished the season off, was fantastic.
And we had a lot of momentum,
of course, and we don't want that to diminish. And we don't want it to diminish by like a couple of defeats in the States, and all of a sudden you're going to pay within squads. couple of editions in, you get a good result in the States, and all of a sudden you're coming back, playing against Roma, and everyone's going to the Hill Dickinson Stadium with full house there. It's going to be great, but we need to see new players in. We need to see a positive result in the States as well to back that up.
You're going to watch it tomorrow?
Yeah, I'll be watching it 9 o'clock Saturday night. That's perfect prime time, isn't it? Well, Saturday night in the summer, watching the Blues.
Depends how late or early you go to bed.
It does, yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to try and get out for a couple of pints to watch it.
And then fall asleep in the second half.
We'll see what happens. See how good we are.
Depends on the score.
Yeah. All right, well, thank you for everyone who's joined today's live stream, and thank you for everyone who has listened on all Royal Blue audio platforms. That is all for today's show. As always, give us a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Drop us some 5-star reviews on Apple and Spotify. Most importantly, enjoy the rest of your night. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. We'll be back on Monday with another Royal Blue podcast. I've been Ian Croll, joined by Tony Scott, and this has been the Royal Blue Podcast.